So we move on to other targets now, and who might be the next player through the doors at Kirby? Well, Neil Jones has been speaking with Anfield Index, and he said Liverpool really like Khéphren Thuram as a player. He's so physically imposing, but he's got great footballing skill and massive technical quality. And I did a little bit on to what Neil was saying. He's got no injury record. I mean, literally none, zero, no injuries. That sounds good to me. Now, you can never predict that a player will never pick up injuries, but bringing in one that doesn't have a history of injuries is certainly a positive for me. If you're looking for a fee, I think I can give you a number there. About £35 million, I believe, is a number that would get that deal done from Nice. But we wait and see what happens. But I'm very happy with the players that we are being linked to. Khéphren Thuram looks like an imposing, big, physical, strong midfielder. I'm not going to claim that I've watched all that much of him. I haven't, like you guys. I've probably started to research him a lot more in recent weeks. Although maybe some of you guys have a bit more information. And of course, I'm always willing to read that in the comment section. Moving on to the next bit of news, as I said, 20 million worth of add-ons roughly for the Alexis McAllister deal, according to C. Parker Turner. Rafa Guerreiro. So I did say to you guys the other day that Liverpool had previously been linked with Rafa Guerreiro and he was going to be leaving Borussia Dortmund. Well, according to the ever-reliable Fabrizio Romano, he has an exclusive that said Bayern are set to sign Rafael Guerreiro on a free transfer. Here we go. Verbal agreement reached on a 3-year contract valid until June 2026. Look, we looked at this kid twice. Once when he was at Lyon, once when he was at Borussia Dortmund. And I wondered, would Liverpool perhaps go back in? He's 29, if my memory serves correct, and it would have been a free transfer, but he is going to Bayern. That means, obviously, that we're probably likely to see Pavard leaving Bayern. Florian Plettenberg was speaking and he said that about 35 or 40 million euro seems to be the number that it would take to get Benjamin Pavard from Bayern, but he is somebody who they're willing to sell. So what are we saying? Would you like to see Pavard at Liverpool? Do you think that price is a bit steep, or do you think we don't need to spend that much on a backup fullback? I don't know. Over to you. Let me know. Jurgen Klopp, our great manager, has moved into the world outside of football. And it's been reported that Jurgen Klopp has become an investor in Sport Total AG, a German artificial intelligence sports streaming platform. I don't know what that is. I don't know what an artificial intelligence sports streaming platform is. Does that mean that you're trying to replace me? You're trying to replace the fantastic commentary of me? You're trying to replace the banter of me? Surely not. Surely not, Jurgs. I don't know, but I wait to see what it is. And if Jurgen Klopp's involved in it, I assume that it can only be a success. So do keep an eye on that situation as well. Alisson Becker. So we mentioned to you guys earlier on about the CIES Football Observatory and their valuation of the top 10 players in world football at the minute. Well, Alisson Becker has been included on the goalkeeping side. And Alisson Becker is apparently the third most valuable goalkeeper in the world, possessing a market value of £57 million. I don't agree with that on any sense. Look, I know that these things are made up with varying factors, age being one of them, length of contract being another one. But let me say this very clearly, straight to the camera. There are two goalkeepers in this conversation, Alisson Becker and Thibaut Courtois, and the rest. Mannion, many others coming up behind, but there are only two goalkeepers in this serious conversation for the best in the world. It is our Brazilian Adonis, Alisson Becker, and of course Thibaut Courtois, who's done bits for both Chelsea and Real Madrid and is a fantastic keeper. They're the two options. The rest, well, I don't really care what anybody else has to say. They are the two for me. And I don't want to be in a world again where we have to speak about Phil Foden being valued at more than Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, you heard me right. Phil Foden's apparently worth more than Kylian Mbappe. So my question to you guys, and this isn't just a news video, I want you guys to let me know your thoughts as well in the comment section. What else do you want to see Liverpool do in this window? So we know centre-back is a position that Liverpool are going to look towards. I don't think we have the money for Josko Gvardiol, who I think will be at the top of all of our lists. But if Liverpool are to go in to try and bring in maybe a left-sided centre-back, who are you bringing in and how much are you spending? Well, I've seen a bid today apparently rejected from Brighton to Chelsea for Levi Colwill, who was somebody I would absolutely love. But if they're rejecting 40 million from Brighton, I can only assume one or two things: that they've no interest in selling him and Pochettino wants him, or that number has to be a lot higher. I've got no new updates either with regards to the situation with Mason Mount. Looks like he's probably Manchester United bound, but with Liverpool's name still in the mix, we await that. Now, one article that did catch my attention today, and I think I mentioned it in the last video, was Liverpool being linked with a move for Caicedo from Brighton. And I think most Liverpool fans would bite your hand off for that potential deal. But it's the numbers involved in it that might make it a bit prohibitive with the owners that we have. They reckon 70 million upwards is going to be the number that Brighton want for Caicedo. And if you look at it from the point of view of both of these two players look like they're going to leave Brighton. Both of these two players were mentioned around the £70 million bracket previously, but yet Liverpool have somehow got McAllister because of that clause for about 35 to 45 million, or maybe a bit more depending on add-ons. So I'm interested to see what number is the final number for Caicedo. But I tell you what, I would very, very much have him at Liverpool Football Club. He is a versatile player. I think he's still only 21 years of age, and you've seen what he's done with Brighton this season alongside Alexis McAllister, and even playing at right back, I think, at times as well. So let's wait and see where he ends up. Chelsea could come back in as well. Obviously, Chelsea have missed out on a player who went to PSG recently, a player that they thought that they had over the line because Todd Bowley was trying to pull a few shenanigans with regards to Manuel Ugarte. He looks like he's PSG bound, so that means with Kante probably moving to Saudi, or definitely moving to Saudi, Chelsea are going to be back in for another midfielder. Who will that be? Will they maybe try and pinch somebody from under the nose of Liverpool? I hope not, because I don't know where Bowley's getting the money from, and I don't know how they're getting away with it, but that's a conversation for another day. That Leighton Clarkson looks like he's a player that Liverpool are willing to move on in this window, and I mean move on as in sell. With regard to Fabio Carvalho, I think they're expecting maybe a second bid from RB Leipzig, but Liverpool apparently don't want to sell. That's according to James Pearce, who said a deal to take him on loan, maybe back to Fulham, could be something that could be explored, and I guess that would make sense. Fabio Carvalho obviously very comfortable at Fulham, so let's wait and see if that's something that materialises, or if Liverpool maybe do go down the route of looking to sell him with a buyback clause in there. I was trying to think of other players as well that Liverpool could look to maybe capitalise on building up a bit of a bankroll, and there aren't too many, right? So if Clarkson goes to Aberdeen or elsewhere, if Nat Phillips has moved on, there may be some ways that we could raise some revenue, but after that you're looking at Queevy and Kelleher, and if you lose him, you got to replace him, so that's kind of much of a muchness. So I want to know in the chat, is there anybody else that you guys may think Liverpool could potentially lose in this window? Maybe a player that we haven't spoken about yet. Do Liverpool need to look at a forward in this window? Now, I would say it's not a priority. You look at 3 midfielders, a centre-back, maybe a full-back. But do Liverpool need to go out into the market and bring in somebody for the January time when Mohamed Salah will be at the AFCON? And if we do, what type of budget do you think we'll have? And why is the answer Federico Chiesa? Because the answer is Federico Chiesa, right? Surely it is. I've seen a number of £35 million that may be enough to get him out of Spain, or excuse me, out of Italy and Juventus. And I know that he's had an injury that has kind of stunted his development, but I'd still take a punt at 35 million, particularly with Jurgen Klopp as the manager, and with the added, I guess, less pressure of him coming straight in to have to perform immediately. He'd have time to settle in, find his own place in the team. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp could utilise him in a whole host of different positions, but I do feel like we could do a little bit of cover, but not spending the whole world on it. So I don't know. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know. And I read one more little thing about why Liverpool went with Harvey Elliott for the game against Manchester United. And apparently he broke the record for the most pressing or the most pressing contributions in a game when Liverpool played Wolves just before that Manchester United game. So yeah, let me know what you think about Harvey Elliott and where his future lies at Liverpool Football Club. That is pretty much it from me, my friends. I'm going to hand it over to you now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do drop a like on the video, and of course we are looking forward to spending another summer with you where we have lots of topics to speak about. I'm expecting it to be a really busy window for Liverpool Football Club, albeit maybe not the flashiest window, maybe not the 250 million pound that we'd maybe hope that Liverpool spend, but I guess as long as we're competitive next season, that's a kind of a step forward. Hopefully we sell Matip. He's completely dusted. I mean, that's young person speak right there. I mean, Matip's the obvious one that we look like we will sell. I think if you got 10 million for Matip, you'd probably have to consider that one. I think getting Chiesa on loan would be a good idea with an option to buy so we can cover for Salah. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that, Dahi, but I wonder if that would be something that Juventus would be interested in. They have a bit of trouble, as we know, Juventus, with what's gone on this season. But yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. I think that would give us a great opportunity to see what Chiesa is about. What would the options be for a centre-back this season? Well, it depends how much money we have to spend, Kyle. That Van de Ven guy from Wolfsburg certainly looks like he's one that we're eyeing up. Inacio from Sporting was another one we'd been linked with. The dream one for us all is Gvardiol, right, from Leipzig, but I just don't think we have the budget to go and get him from Leipzig. I think maybe Manchester City could come in for him. Craig, it's going to be between Koné or Thuram. Let me read the rest of this. From what you said, the YouTube Donnies. I didn't say it was between them. I said that Neil Jones the other day said he'd be surprised if Liverpool signed both. He thinks it might be one or the other.